Do you like to go to the movies and get scared?
Well, I'm
been to
a
scary
sucker.
movies
I got to
with
tell you, well, I'm a good audience because movies, I really, people say, you're a filmmaker, so you see all the tricks and you see all the stuff. And, the truth is only if it's bad.
Right.
If it's good. I mean,
you want to get caught up in it.
The Exorcist, which I still think is probably one of the best horror films ever made, the original version before Friedkin went back and fucked it up, but the original release version of The Exorcist is an amazing movie because if you see it properly in a cinema with a big crowd.
Right.
So, I'm a complete atheist. I certainly don't believe in Jesus Christ or the devil. I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in hell. I have no time for the Catholic Church at all. I go to see this movie, and I had complete suspension of disbelief. I was scared shitless. I totally believed that Satan had possessed that little girl. That's a great piece of filmmaking, and I always thought the Pope should pay Bill Friedkin, Of course, when I left the theater, it was gone.
Right.
It's like it didn't bother me anymore.
Do you still go out to horror movies? Do you like to see them?
Oh, yeah, I do. See, that's the problem, is I like a lot of kinds of movies. I really enjoy movies. What is true is there's a lot of movies I don't go see. I had this epiphany with Joe Dante once. As a kid, once I decided I'd be a filmmaker, I literally saw every movie that came out. Every foreign film, every domestic film, every genre, I saw everything. And in the early 70s, no, mid-70s, maybe. But I'm with Joe Dante, maybe even in the 80s, maybe. But I was with Joe Dante on Hollywood Boulevard. And we went to see a matinee of this picture made by a friend of yours and mine. And about 35 minutes into it, Joe said, life's too short. And I thought, he's right. Why are we watching this shit?
You don't have to see everything.
Yeah, and we left. And it changed my life. And what's funny is, the thing now with movie trailers is to show everything. They have, it's all about marketing. They have total contempt for the audience. They feel the audience must know everything before they go. But trailers used to be my favorite part of going to the movies because I'd go, ooh, I want to see that. Ooh. Now, I'll see a trailer and think, I'll miss that one. That's what I won't see.
What about the screening process? I mean, when you take a film to sneak it, to get the cards.
Well, that's changed quite a bit. I mean, in the old days, listen to me, in the 70s, you used to have what were called major studio previews, and you'd go somewhere in the country that was not Los Angeles or New York. So your audience was really a virgin audience, and you could get really interesting responses from them. Now, everything is so market researched and focus grouped, and audiences are drafted now and recruited audiences, and it's kind of a depressing process because they can make. I've watched them do that to friends' movies where they just take the movie and what bothered you about this character? What bothered you about this movie? Why didn't you like
and then reshoot the ending to satisfy a 15-year-old in Pacoima.
Well, but I actually don't argue with the idea of previews. I mean, I use previews.
But I've been in previews of my films and others where they will love the movie, they'll have a reaction, and they jump in the right places, they laugh, they have a great time. And then afterwards, when the focus group gets going, somebody will say something critical, and then it starts to catch fire. And they all start, yeah, and you know what else? And oh, this is stupid.
Well, also, if you say something to somebody, here, taste this, and they taste it, how's that? They go, delicious. You can stop there.
What about censorship? Have you had experiences in censorship?
Oh, sure, of course.
Well, for example, in Animal House, you have a 14-year-old female character who ends up drunk and topless in one scene.
13.
13-year-old, sorry. Could you do
so it's
that?
Okay.
Yeah. Could you do 14. That now?
Could I do that now? Yeah, I think I'd do that now.
You think they'd let you put it in a studio film now?
I don't know. Animal House, I think of Animal House really as kind of tame compared to the stuff that's followed it. I mean, it has a lot to answer for. I mean, I've said this before, but I've never made a movie that in my own mind, I think is a great movie, but I've made a lot of movies that were very influential. Werewolf and Animal House is one of them, I mean, Animal House has been knocked off so many times, but if you look at contemporary reviews, it was attacked and savaged by critics because it was so vulgar and so disgusting and outrageous. And
10 years later, it's a classic.
John Huston said, that motion picture directors, prostitutes, and buildings grow respectable with age. And now I'm in my late 50s, and I've discovered it's completely true. And what it is, are movies I made that were shit on when they came out. I mean, specifically Werewolf, Animal House, The Blues Brothers, Into the Night. I made a lot of pictures, even Trading Places, that basically got lousy reviews. That Three Amigos, years later, they're like classics. The same schmucks refer to them as classic films, and you think, I guess it's the gray. What happened?
That's it. I have that to look forward to. You wrote An American Werewolf at 19.
Yeah, I wrote it in Yugoslavia.
And didn't change much between the time you wrote that first draft and when you made it.
No, the only change was the Eros Cinema in Piccadilly was originally, when I wrote it, a cartoon cinema. Yeah. When I came back in 81, it was a porno theater. Mm-hmm. So we made one of those English, oops, my knickers are showing pornos.
See you next Wednesday.
Yeah, but that's literally the only change. There's some dialogue in it, especially poor Jenny Agutter, that is clearly written by a 19-year-old boy. Nurses tend not to come home with you or look like that either.
You helped write The Spy That Loved Me, right?
Well, I'm one of the many writers on that show, yeah.
You really would love to do a James Bond movie, wouldn't you?
Now? I'm not sure. Now I don't know.
For a while you wanted.
But, well, yeah, when Cubby was alive, absolutely. Because they were so ridiculous. There was a time when James Bond was the most outrageous and most lavish movies, and everyone looked forward to them. They were so over the top in production and everything. But now, you look at movies like The Bourne Identity, or every movie's the Mission Impossible. Everyone's doing it. Everyone's on that level of sophistication and huge action. And I'm fond of James Bond, I think, because I'm a child of the 60s.
What is there something you would really like to do that you haven't done?
Yeah, lots of things. You mean movies?
I mean movies.
Shit, yes.
Is there a pet project, or is there a genre you'd like to tackle?
Well, I'd love to make more Westerns. I love Westerns. I have to tell you, it's the most fun riding around on horses and being outside and stuff. But I worked on a lot of spaghetti Westerns and a couple of American Westerns, and I made Three Amigos, but that's a comedy, so it doesn't really count. But
what have you been surprised by? You've done a lot of horror conventions, the Fangoria-type conventions and the like.
Too many.
The fans are so rabid for An American Werewolf.
They weren't always.
But they have been for a couple of decades.
Yeah.
What has surprised you? Have there been any reactions that you did not expect?
Well, that's interesting. I remember at the time when Werewolf came out, a lot of criticism from horror people that there were no silver bullets, that they sort of were upset that I didn't follow some mythology that Kurt Siodmak made up. It was
which seemed to be part of the point of it.
Well, yeah, but I got a lot of grief because of the ending, because of the way it ends. Boom, dead, over. And now I get people say, no, that's the appropriate ending.
Do you like being thought of as a horror film director?
Oh, I think it's a riot. I enjoy it, sure. The majority of my pictures have been comedies, and directors get typed. Some directors, Hitchcock, DeMille, John Carpenter, they brand themselves. It's a trademark. It's like Mr. Clean, I'm Mr. Horror. People try to do it. I believe strongly that making a horror picture, or making a comedy, or making a musical, or making a Western, or making a war movie, or making a love story, or making a spy picture, the director's job is identical. Directing's directing. It's telling a story by the juxtaposition of the images. It's capturing those moments, take by take by take. It's piecework. You put it together, but it's the same job. Nothing changes at all. And yet people go, well, he can't handle that. That's a big picture, or a small picture. That makes no sense to me. Or genre stuff, too. Michael Curtiz is a Hungarian director. And over this long career at Warner Brothers, he had these extraordinary, because he was studio workhorse, the Errol Flynn movies, Robin Hood, Captain Blood, Dodge City, but then Yankee Doodle Dandy, Casablanca. Yeah, he worked with Elvis. This guy's career, Charge of Light Brigade, it's amazing.
The golden age of Hollywood, a director directed movies, not a specific kind of movie.
But it's a different time now. In many ways, it's a better time for the individual filmmaker. But in most ways, it's not. Certainly not in the Hollywood sense, it's not. It's very difficult. It's about the star now and about selling the picture. So if you can get Brad Pitt, you can make any piece of shit you want. If you can get, no, I'm serious.
Yeah, I know you are.
If you can get, hopefully he'll choose well, or, but
Right.
there are actors and actresses, if you can get them, the picture gets made. Doesn't matter who the director is, doesn't matter how bad or good the script is. And that's difficult,